You're on.
Good afternoon. Welcome to City Council. Today is February 5th, 2024, and thank you for joining us for our City Council meeting. It's approximately 1:01. If y'all please join me. First of all, for a moment, like to take a moment for our men and women that serve our military, and for also all those that men and women that serve our community, to give a moment. Now, if you join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first thing on our agenda is presentations of certificates and proclamations, and we have none today. Pets of the Week, Amy DeFelix.
Hello everyone, my name is Amy DeFelix with the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. And we'll go ahead and start my Pet of the Week presentation, starting off with our Cat of the Week. Our Cat of the Week this week, her name is Barbie. Her number is 71520, and she says, "I am the last of a trio who came to the Animal Services Center after being left behind. I am very timid and reserved with strangers. I need a very special home to slowly work with gaining my trust and loving me unconditionally. I need to get comfortable on my own time, and then I can show you just how affectionate and sweet I can be." And then our Dog of the Week is Missy. Her number is 62905, and she says, "I'm a very playful and curious girl who really just likes to be out in the world, checking out all the sights and sounds. I do enjoy playing with a good toy occasionally, but my heart is set on adventure. I'd like a home that would be dedicated to training me and making sure I'm a well-behaved, well-mannered girl. I'd also love them for taking me out on walks or jogs around town." And then some events we have going on. We have an adoption event at Petco this Saturday, February 10th. We will be there from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And in case you need that address, it is 3050 East Lowman Avenue. And then I'd also like to announce another event that we have going on near the end of February, which is going to be our drive-through low-cost vaccination clinic. It'll be held at the Field of Dreams parking lot. That'll be Sunday, February 25th, and we'll be open from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the first 200 microchips are graciously sponsored by the McCune Charitable Foundation, and then all of the distemper parvo, so that's the puppy dog vaccine, and then the feline distemper vaccines are all sponsored by Petco Love. And the other, like rabies, kennel cough vaccines, and any microchips after 200 are only $10, so it's definitely a steal. We encourage everyone to come by. We hope to see you all there. And of course, links to find us all over the internet, our website, ascmv.org, social media, we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and then our Tales from the Past side. The podcast is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm finishing up editing our most recent episode, so that'll be airing hopefully within today or two. But yeah, that is everything I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Next, we have the conflict of interest. Does any member of the city council, city manager, or any member of the city staff have any known conflict of interest with any item on the agenda?
None.
None,
by
Graham.
Flores.
None.
None.
All right, thank you. Next is public participation. Those individuals wishing to come up to the podium, please state your name. We'll give you up to 3 minutes to speak. I'll start over here on my left-hand side. Anybody in the front row that wants to speak? See none on the second row. Ma'am, it's up here in front. Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Donnell Bell, and I'm a member of the pickleball community here in Las Cruces. Because of its growing popularity, my colleagues and I are here to request of our elected officials more access to courts. Our reasons are numerous. In 2023, pickleball was named for the third year in a row the fastest growing sport in America by Sports and Fitness Industry Association. Las Cruces is no exception. We appreciate the city and voters' approval of the new courts at East Mesa. Still, these courts are not yet available. Additionally, we do not want to replace tennis. We just want to share the courts, including Young and Lions Park. Many may think pickleball is a game meant for retirees. Just recently, however, during a school break, the courts were filled with teenagers enjoying a game, many playing with and demolishing their parents. The courts are often used by medical students from the university or other NMSU or high school students. Not only can pickleball contribute to our community financially as it drives tourism, relocation decisions, and more, it benefits physical and mental health. We recognize our request will take some consideration, but we welcome the opportunity to meet with council so that we can, to form a feasibility study. Tennis and pickleball are great sports, and we can coexist. We also ask you to consider supply and demand. Thank you for your time.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Cece Hunter, and I'm the mother of Aaron Gifford, who served with the U.S. Army in the first invasion in Iraq. He went on to serve 3 more deployments. Aaron came back with PTSD, and it finally became too much for him to bear, and he committed suicide January the 8th, 2018. I established a 5013C, the Aaron Gifford Pickleball Benefit, shortly after to raise awareness and proceeds for PTSD. Aaron found pickleball in 2016, and he became passionate about it and met many friends and formed a great community. I truly believe that it extended his life and gave him an outlet for PTSD. We have held an annual pickleball tournament here in Las Cruces in honor of Aaron and other veterans who suffer from PTSD. We not only support our local Mesilla Valley Community of Hope Veterans Program, but we also support Mission 22. It's a national organization that brings awareness that approximately 22 veterans commit suicide every day. We have donated approximately $60,000 to date to these organizations through this tournament. We would like to continue to support our local veterans in Mission 22 with the annual tournament, but we just do not have enough pickleball courts to accommodate this growing sport and tournament. This year, we expect over 300 players to come across the country. I submitted an application to the Parks and Rec for the use of 6 tennis courts at Lions Park and was approved. But I was asked to contact the Tennis Association to get their approval as well, and I was denied. It was stated that since we already have 8 Apodaca courts and 8 more at East Mesa coming up, we shouldn't expect the tennis players to be misplaced. We have approximately 700 pickleball players in Las Cruces, and it's growing every week. There is hardly a time you can ever go to Apodaca and not see the courts full of young families, teenagers, old people, elderly people, and we just would ask for the support to bring more pickleball courts to our community. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Diane Giever. I'm here today to speak on behalf of the Parkinson's community. I am joined by Sarah Stiegel and John Roberts, and they are co-leaders of the Parkinson's Support Group of Southern New Mexico and other members of our local group. Want to stand? 10 years ago, I learned that I had Parkinson's. a progressive neurological disease for which there is no cure. The Michael J. Fox Foundation has funded more than $1 billion towards research programs and progress has been made, but there still is no cure. While medications help with symptoms, there is nothing that can slow the progression of this disease except exercise. I discovered pickleball in 2019, and despite physical setbacks, I have played regularly ever since. I am grateful there is a sport that I can participate in despite my disabilities. But the best benefit for me and those like me is knowing I am proactively doing the best thing that I can do to slow the progression of this debilitating disease. This is why, with the help of Coach Levy and many others who donate their time and talents, I started Pickleball for Parkinson's. Over the past year, those with Parkinson's have played every Thursday afternoon, and now we are into our second year. The benefits of this game for improving our symptoms are endless, and I believe that I speak for the rest of our group when I say, for the few hours that we play pickleball, I forget that I have Parkinson's. This is why pickleball is so important to me, and I will continue to play until I'm no longer able. I will also continue to encourage others with or without the disease to join me. It is my hope that someday we will have enough courts to serve the needs of our community. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you. Continuing on the second row.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, City Manager, staff, and public. My name is Yoli Diaz. I will begin with my asks. There are four. One, I ask that you put the issues of accessing health care at Memorial Medical Center on your next agenda, since there is now a new mayor and a new mayor pro tem. Two, I am again requesting a meeting with each council member. Three, since I have continued to receive calls from residents who need to access cancer treatment, a potentially fatal disease, I'm asking each of you again to please consider the health care fund proposal I provided you on October 2nd, 2023. Four, create a joint powers agreement with Doñana County similar to the Animal Service Center to provide health and human services and/or oversight in healthcare. I believe that Memorial Medical Center C-suite of LifePoint/Apollo Global Management denying and delaying cancer treatment of chemotherapy and radiation and other needed healthcare services to residents is atrocious, barbaric, and illegal. According to the lease between City of Las Cruces and Doñana County and them, and according to NMSA 1978, Chapter 27, Article 5, as a private equity firm operation, they are a profit-driven, price-gouging business with aggressive collection practices, predatory billing, and very high charged cost ratios known as markups. Why do I say this? Let me explain. The severely disabled resident in the Doñana County Healthcare Assistance Program, the county's indigent program, I talked to you in the October 2nd, 2023 council meeting, recently received a bill for $5,966 from a collection agency. I called Memorial Medical Center. I was told that the bill was not from the hospital services, it was from the physicians that read the diagnostic text of her breast biopsy done at Memorial Medical Center on August 9th, 2023. So I then asked, what was Memorial Medical Center portion of the services? The answer was $9,696.34, which was covered by 100% discount. This means that the biopsy cost of services for this uninsured indigent resident in the Doñana County Healthcare Assistance Program was almost $16,000. Doesn't everyone agree that almost $16,000 is a lot of money and unaffordable to most? I had requested the CPT codes of services. I compared them to UNM. It was nowhere near $16,000. Why? I have helped residents at Memorial Medical Center was asking for payments and flat rate service amounts upfront prior to their healthcare service, or there would be no service. Amounts of over $7,000, $6,000, $3,000, $2,300. I have helped residents where huge amounts were paid out by insurance. I helped a resident that was not satisfied at Memorial Medical Cancer Center. She left them. We compared her EOB's explanation of benefits. In the 3 months she was at MMC collected over $110,000. In 5 months with her new oncologist, they collected over $5,000. At the time we looked it up, MMC collected over $440,000 from the insurance of the resident that caused me to look into these issues in the first place. Why?
Thank you.
So, Claudia Mudo is here, but she needs a translator, and the city wasn't able to find one. So I'm going to have that duty unless you all prefer someone else. So she'll need 3 minutes, and then as the best job I can do, I'll need 3 minutes to say what she said. Okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Voy a hacer así cuando pares.
Ya. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Claudia Muro. Estoy aquí para expresar mi triste experiencia con Memorial Medical Center. Mi hijo y yo vivimos en Las Cruces desde 1997, ya casi 27 años. Mi hijo tiene autismo y fue a la escuela desde el 2º grado hasta el 10º grado en Las Cruces Public School.
Good afternoon. My name is Claudia Mudo. I'm here to express my sad experience with Memorial Medical Center. My son and I live in Las Cruces since 1997, almost 27 years. My son has autism, and he went to the Las Cruces Public Schools from the 2nd grade to the 12th grade.
Con mi trabajo siempre he sido el sustento para mi hijo y para mí misma, teniendo nuestras necesidades. Desde hace muchos años, mi hijo y yo tenemos cobertura médica con New Mexico Medical Insurance Pool.
With my work, I've been able to sustain my son and myself with our necessities. For many years, my son and I have insurance coverage with New Mexico Medical Insurance Pool.
En 2017 me encontraron un pólipo de cáncer en el estómago. Gracias a la intervención temprana del doctor que me atendió, hoy puedo estar de pie frente a ustedes, hablándoles de mi absurda e inhumana experiencia con Memorial Medical Center.
In 2017, they found cancer, stomach cancer, and thanks to the doctor that was able to give me quick attention, I'm able to be in front of you today to tell you about the absurd and inhumane experience with Memorial Medical Center.
En mayo de 2023 requerí una biopsia de uno de mis senos después de que en mi mamograma y sonograma se detectó una masa sospechosa, la cual me aterraba por el diagnóstico de cáncer en el 2017 y por mi historial clínico familiar de cáncer de mama.
In May 2023, I required a biopsy for my breast since I had a suspicious mammogram and sonogram. She was very concerned because of her 2017 history of her cancer and the breast cancer that runs in her family.
Mi procedimiento estaba programado con mucho tiempo para que el cirujano lo hiciera temprano en la mañana en Memorial Medical Center.
My biopsy was scheduled very early in the morning so that her surgeon would be able to do it at Memorial Medical Center.
Unas horas antes del día anterior a mi cita programada, recibí la llamada de una señorita del Departamento de Finanzas diciéndome que tenía que pagar $6,000.
Within hours before my procedure, my biopsy procedure, I received a call from a lady in the finance department telling me that I needed to pay $6,000 before my procedure.
Algo absurdo e imposible para mí y estoy segura que para muchos.
This was something that was absurd and impossible for me, and I'm sure for many others.
Le respondí que me era imposible llevarle $6,000 a unas horas antes de mi cita. Ella empezó a ofrecerme diferentes planes de pagos.
Claudia said to the lady at Memorial that $6,000 within hours before her biopsy, it was impossible for her to bring. So the finance person started offering different payment plans.
Me sentí angustiada y frustrada porque Memorial Medical Center Me hizo sentir que tenía el derecho de regatear con mi vida.
No dijiste esto. Ve para atrás.
¿Dónde?
El primero.
El primer plan que me ofrecieron fue de $3,000 el día del procedimiento y a la semana siguiente el resto. Después me ofreció pagos de $600 a la semana y por último pagos de $350 cada semana.
The finance lady then offered me payments of $3,000 before her procedure and within another week to pay the other $3,000. Then she said, offered her, because she couldn't do it, then she offered her $600 a week, and then finally she offered her $350 every week.
Después de este trato solo pude llorar de miedo. Le pregunté a la señorita si había algún programa donde me pudieran ayudar de una u otra forma.
Okay, 9.
Le
Me
pregunté,
sentí, I felt anguish and frustrated because Memorial Medical Center was bargaining or haggling with my life. Then all she could do was cry. And then she asked if there was a program that would be able to help her in one way or another. Su respuesta.
la respuesta de ella fue que no había ningún tipo de ayuda. Me preguntó que cuánto dinero podía llevar al día siguiente en el día de mi procedimiento. Le ofrecí $200 y su respuesta fue: lo siento, señora, $200 no son suficientes.
The finance person had answered that there was no program and to be able to help her. And she needed to know because of her cancer. ¿Dijiste tu hijo?
Sí.
She said, I have a son with special needs, and I can't leave him alone. If she said that, she didn't say that, she skipped it then. She asked her, the finance person asked her, well, what can you pay? And then she started offering her $200. And then Claudia still say, I couldn't do it. And then the finance person said that she's sorry, but she couldn't take not even $200. So she was denied.
Cuando me escuchó verdaderamente desesperada fue que me dio un número de teléfono teniendo que cancelar mi procedimiento.
When she saw that I was very desperate, that's when she gave me a phone number and she had to cancel her procedure.
Supliqué por orientación para buscar otros medios de ayuda y fue cuando llegué con Consuelo y Yolanda Díaz, quienes merecen todo mi agradecimiento y respeto por hacer más allá de lo que les corresponde hacer en su trabajo, porque lo hacen con el corazón y con empatía.
Yoli, we've exceeded the time. We understand it's important. We are a council that's very caring and compassionate, but we also have a meeting that we have to address. And
Okay.
so thank you for coming, and we're sorry for what has taken place. We recognize it, we understand it, and we'll continue to see what we can do about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's your turn. You get 3 minutes.
I know. Hello, my name is Barbara Corral. I have lived here since I was 6 years old. That's about 50-something years. We won't count. Did I tell you I'm a nurse? I've been a nurse for almost 30 years. And I ended up getting sick. I ended up having vaginal cancer. I had a hysterectomy. Nobody ever told me that you need to have a pap smear after that. Years down the road, I got sick with cancer. I had vaginal cancer. So I'm urging everybody, make sure you take care of yourselves. I did have insurance through the marketplace, and I was doing home health nursing. I was doing really well. And then I got diagnosed. Vaginal cancer is a very rare form that only affects about 4% of the population. I wasn't concerned about anything. I had insurance, right? I should be good to go. My doctor called over to Memorial, spoke to the radiation oncologist. Oh, we'll get her in here this week. Everything was set. Well, then the radiation oncologist called the medical oncologist back and said, we don't take that insurance. We can't do anything about it. They were unable to make any kind of memorandum agreement to provide care in spite of the insurance being out of network, which sometimes they can do. So there I was, 61, a nurse with cancer, needing radiation and chemo, and I was unable to get treatment in my own hometown. I've been here a long time, so it was important to me to stay here. I was outraged and devastated at the same time. My hospital that I had worked for early in my career would not treat me. The new plan was for me to go to Albuquerque for treatment. I was going to have chemotherapy and radiation. So I had to quit my job. My husband quit his job. We went to Albuquerque, so we had to find somewhere to stay. We had to have food, we had to have gas, we had to pay all our bills here in Cruces. We had to get a dog sitter. So we went through what money we did have really quickly. We were able to finally get approved for Medicaid, and that was the only bright thing through this whole thing, was that Medicaid helped us, and I'm so grateful. We needed more help than that, though, with just the medical. So Yoli actually helped me pay some of my bills, which was very much appreciated. We finally got done, and we came back, and I'm a survivor now, and I'm very thankful for that. But I have to tell you, I feel really betrayed by Memorial Medical Center. I mean, how could they do that to me? I've taken care of this community for almost 30 years. So I just feel like we were raised to lend a helping hand. I want to know what happened to that. We need to try and fix this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I guess now moving to the third row. Anybody on the third row? Fourth row?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. I hope you remember me. My name is Marisa Anderson, Jeff Anderson from Sunny Acres RV Park.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, good to
thank
see you.
We here with the community with the pickleball, and we are just asking to see if you can help us with this problem. We do have our tournament for Aaron Gifford, and my friend Cece and Ken Hunter tried to go and see if we can get Lions Club, and it was not possible. So hopefully, I remember you told me that you're gonna help us. So the thing is, to me, all of us, we are taxpayers. I'm sure Sunny Acres pay a lot of money. We see these courts with lights in the night. Nobody's playing. So we're still paying for that, right? So why you don't help us to go and do this tournament and help all these people with the veterans and all this? Sunny Acres rescue one time last year, one of those veterans. And I am so proud that I helped him. He's in Florida right now, and he's doing very well. So now, why is we paying for all these lights and all this maintenance? Why we cannot help these people with the money that is pending with nothing in there? So we do have Parkinson's, we have cancer with people, but we have lights on when nobody playing. Save that money to help these people. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, folks. I am Jeff Anderson, and that was my wife, and she does that to me too, sir. So anyhow, I'm the president of the Organ Mountain Pickleball Club, and I want to tell you, we've been working with the city for years now, and even before we had the club, folks were working with the city, with Ms. Delgado and Stephen, who's in Parks and Recs right now, and we appreciate the effort they're making, but it's going to take more than Parks and Recs. We got to get the other parts of our city government involved in this too. Like the courts up at East Mesa, why did we coat those courts with that expensive, wonderful, nice cushion pickleball coating over a year ago and just let it sit out there in the sun and burn up when we could be playing on it, but we're still not playing on those courts. And I think that's a DPW thing, I'm not sure, or contracting, but it seems like a waste. Talking about our tournaments, we have a tournament also. In our tournaments, we're bringing in so many players, we require a lot of pickleball courts. We only have 8 pickleball courts, outdoor pickleball courts in town now. We also have the courts over at Mearshite that we can play in indoors, but I mean, they're booked and packed all the time too. So I just want to say, I appreciate what you're doing, but this is nothing new. We've been talking about this for years. Pickleball is still the fastest growing sport. We have over 800 people on our mailing list in the pickleball club. We have over 400 paying members. And we would appreciate, maybe helping us to work with the tennis folks a little bit more in the near future, so we could get some more pickleball courts in town, because who knows when we're going to get this East Mesa thing. And 8 courts is not going to be enough. When you open those 8 courts, they're going to be packed, just like Aphrodite is. So anyhow, I appreciate your time and your help and anything you can do to help our pickleball community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone on the 5th row?
Good afternoon. My name is Valerie Fernandez. I arrived in Las Cruces after experiencing the full Katrina treatment from New Orleans. I love Las Cruces. I run out every morning and kiss the sidewalk. I'm so thankful to be here with your beautiful weather. And I have started participating in the past 2 to 3 years at the Aquatic Center. Now you have built this enormous $1 million facility, the Natick Center or whatever, next door, but you can't maintain the older facility? These people need exercise, but they can't use the channel at the Aquatic Center? Half this facility is down and has been down for months. And then if you go into the showering or bathroom facilities, fully a third of the plumbing fixtures need repair. What the heck you can build $1 million nautic center, but you can't maintain what you already have? You ought to be ashamed. I don't know whether it's Parks and Recs, these people want pickleball, but they could use the pools, certainly. And it's a mess, and it's filthy too. I don't know what is going on over there, but somebody ought to address the older facility and take care of what is in need of repair. I mean, faucets, really? I could get a plumber to go do it. Hell, half of it I could do. You ought to be ashamed. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else on the 5th row? If not, the 6th row?
Greetings, Mayor Enriquez and Council. My name is Julia Ruiz. My comments are based on the KRWG interview newsmakers 1601 guaranteed basic income. Most welfare programs come with different types of conditions for recipients. However, my understanding is that UBI is distinctive in that recipients have no conditions as to how they are to spend the American Rescue Plan, ARPA monies received, which is not their own money, as stated in the KRWG interview by Councilor Bencomo. She states this is a guaranteed monthly income to low-income families with no strings attached. Income is defined as money received in exchange for labor or products. What labor or products will be exchanged? The Kellogg Foundation was mentioned in that it will do the research component as well as the NMSC Crimson Research Program. What are the data points? Anecdotal information does not qualify the program as successful, and it is not scientific evidence which can be verified objectively. In addition, Las Cruces is not a laboratory. As far as I know, the people of the community of Las Cruces have not signed up to be any part of an experiment. When LCPD asked for 18 officers and 18 new vehicles, the purpose was specifically for public safety. Universal basic income poses more questions than solutions to poverty. How will the recipients be better prepared to be successful and productive citizens at the end of the program? How many one-time pilot programs will be looked at before the right one is found? The question stands, what happens at the end of the program, and how will the recipients be better prepared to be successful and productive citizens at the end of the program? Will they have learned a skill or received training in a skill? Will they be employable? Will community businesses be involved? With the experts having over 100 years of experience together, I'm genuinely interested in understanding how they have decided that UBI is the best interest of the recipients and the community. Where's the accountability and the self-efficacy? Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Mayor, Council, name is Juan Garcia, and I quote, HHS defines poverty level on household size and adjusts it every year based on inflation and other factors. And I quote, rapidly rising prices and high levels of inflation aren't good for the economy either, as they often outpace wages and make products and services more expensive for consumers. From the fundamental fallacy of redistribution, the recent governments cannot simply take money from some people according to how able they are and give it to others based on how needy they are, is because people who were aware of that plan would not be foolish enough to accurately reveal their abilities and needs. Actual taxes and transfer payments distort behavior in ways that undermine economic progress and commonly produce results such as trapping people in poverty that are the opposite of their stated intent. So in Las Cruces, we have taxpayer-funded wealth redistribution or universal basic income. KRWG interview. Guaranteed basic income provides unconditional and unrestricted payments to help individuals with their basic needs. There's nothing exchanged. That's $9,000 of taxpayer funds. So taxpayer funds to recipients to do as they please. We need accountability. In the same interview, New Mexico Cafe organizer, and I quote, anecdotal evidence showed that the program was a success. When you ask the definition of anecdotal, it's not necessarily true or reliable because based on personal accounts rather than facts or research. We invested $1.7 million on an experiment. Yoli Diaz back there has been pleading for funds for cancer treatment and other major health issues to save lives with documented illnesses. How much has she received from the city? And what happens when UBI funds run out? Senator Souls has the answer. He has proposed SB 164, which is ready to go and evaluate the impacts of UBI on, quote, pregnant people. I need to understand what that means, but okay, that's in the bill. And that's $1,500 a month per pregnant person until the $80 million is expended. $80 million. Can you imagine what Yoli could do with a tenth of that? And the social financial addiction continues. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the sixth row?
Lorenza is the second person that needed the translator, so if we can repeat this.
Yeah, but if we could make it brief, Yoli, keep it under the 3 minutes.
I'm going to do my best in saying what she's saying.
No, thanks.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Lorenza Granados.
Good afternoon, my name is Lorenza Granados.
Vengo a exponer mi caso de cáncer que estuve en las clínicas de familia.
She's going to talk about her diagnosis of cancer and her situation at an FQHC, Ben Archer and La Clínica de Familia, both of them.
Estaba con la clínica de familia desde el 95.
Ben Archer, you know?
Ujú. Es Ben Archer.
She means Ben Archer because La Clínica de Familia is the actual name of the other clinic. So Ben Archer, since ¿cuál año?
En 95.
Since 1995, she's been a patient at Ben Archer.
Hace 2 años estuve muy enferma de muchas cosas que tenía en el cuerpo, pero
It's been 2 years that she was very, very sick, things happening in her body.
no tengo aseguranzas o la doctora le preguntaba que qué era lo que estaba pasando. Ella no me quería atender, no quería hacer más estudios porque yo no tenía aseguranza.
That who was attending to her, the provider, was not doing anything else for her because she did not have health insurance.
Yo intenté comprar aseguranza desde el 1968, solo que nunca me vendieron ninguna aseguranza por carecer de seguro social.
That she had tried in the past since 1998, I think she said, trying to get health insurance, but she couldn't get it because she didn't have a Social Security number.
La doctora, yo le pedía que me hiciera estudios, pero ella nunca quiso por la aseguranza, pero estuve enferma por mucho tiempo.
That she kept trying to get, of course, diagnostic testing, whatever tests to find out what was wrong with her, but they didn't help her because she didn't have the health insurance.
Hace 1 año y medio me diagnosticaron con otro médico privado cáncer etapa 2.
That they diagnosed her a year and a half ago with cancer, stage 2.
Gracias a la señora Yoli agarré la ayuda de una aseguranza. Me ayudó CARE con la señora Yolanda Díaz y hasta ahorita por eso estoy aquí con ustedes presentes.
So she's saying that I helped her get her health insurance, which was with the New Mexico Medical Insurance Pool, because people who don't have a Social Security number, that is the only insurance that they can get, and so I helped her back then.
Y gracias a la señora Yolanda Díaz estoy aquí y yo no quisiera que ninguna mujer estuviera experimentando lo mismo que yo pasé, de que no la escuchen.
She says, thank you that I helped her and that she does not want to see other women go through what she went through and how she wasn't being listened to.
Gracias a la señora Yolanda estoy aquí, me retiraron mi cáncer, estoy libre de cáncer en este momento, pero si no hubiera sido por ella y por CARE, no estuviera aquí hablando con ustedes.
So she's giving me kudos again, and I'll be real quick. She's saying that if it wasn't for me and helping her with the insurance, she wouldn't have been here to be able to tell you what happened to her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias. Row 7. Anyone on row 7? Row 8.
City Councilors and Mayor, I'm Sarah Smith from the New Mexico Freedoms Alliance. I am concerned about your continued focus on housing first as a solution to homelessness in Las Cruces, including your recent $7 million request from the legislature. We have already seen with the Desert Hope Homeless Housing Project on the corner of Pecos and Foster that housing first can harm our overall community. Many people from the neighborhood near Desert Hope have had their homes broken into, have had their cars stolen, there are drug needles left around, families are scared to let their children play outside or walk to school. Women are reported being sexually harassed in their front yards. According to the San Antonio Haven for Hope, which serves 7,000 homeless people yearly, housing first only works for 15% of people. 85% of people need different kinds of stability before they move into housing. Here in Las Cruces, residents at Desert Hope have reported that there is chaos and fighting there all day and night. These people are trying to turn their lives around, trying to break free from addiction, and they have people coming back over and over again offering them drugs. Several drug dealers have even been housed there. We can look around and see that what is being done in Las Cruces is not working. The city is looking at the number of people being housed as the measure of success, but this is not enough. It is not compassionate to enable people to continue to destroy their lives and their health with drugs. We need to look at whether the people we are supposedly helping are actually reforming their lives, becoming free of their drug addiction, and moving towards independence. Will you invest in other approaches instead of putting all of our resources towards housing first? One example is the Work First model being used at Boulder Bridge House in Colorado. I want to tell you some more details about this program. It has the following 3 pillars. Number 1, they provide job readiness training and paid work. Number 2, they utilize a drug and alcohol-free dormitory-style shelter. Number 3, they have ongoing supportive services, including money management training and long-term aftercare. According to Dustin from this program, who was formerly homeless and addicted to drugs, Ready to Work, quote, teaches you how to be responsible and accountable for your behavior. The work first part builds self-efficacy through actually doing something for yourself. That's what works. In that program, people start by working in an outdoor crew, similar to our Mano y Mano program here. But that is just a stepping stone towards learning the skills needed to work at a community table kitchen. The people also pay rent up to 1/3 of their income for their supportive housing. After 1 year, people graduate from this Ready to Work program, ready for employment and permanent housing. This program has a 74% success rate in having people maintain employment and independence. We should be aiming for improved rehabilitated lives for the homeless people so they can become responsible members of our community. Will you please take a more balanced approach instead of investing only in housing first? Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that's row 8. Anybody else on 8? Nothing. Row 9. Last row.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Stanley Engel, E-N-G-L-E for the record, like the tumblers that everybody's going crazy over as well. So I'm here to actually congratulate the former City Council body for making our transit system zero fare. I would say probably a typical middle-aged guy, middle income, access to cars, access to bicycles when I ride my bike to work. And because of the zero fare, I have been enjoying using the bus. And it is actually, it's actually been quite pleasant. I've gone to see friends at Bosque using the bus. I've gone to work at NMSU using the bus. I have taken my 6-year-old, then at the time son, to Apodaca Park, to Young Park, to his swim lessons at Gym Magic. And during that whole time, I have seen a mini culture on the bus of riders who I recognize over and over now, and who recognize each other, and they're very friendly, and it's quite a good experience. And I am just glad for that opportunity to be able to pay my taxes and get a service in return. And even if I didn't use it, I am glad to pay my taxes so others may use that service. And since I am talking about buses, I'd just like to acknowledge that Rosa Parks' birthday was yesterday, I believe. She is an American hero, and she helped effect change without aggression, the threat of violence, or violence. I think we need more of that in our society. Thank you.
Thank you.
Afternoon, Council and Mayor. My name is Israel Chavez. I'm an attorney here in southern New Mexico. But arguably more importantly, I'm an advocate for public transit. I want to thank Council for continuing the Zero Fares program. As you've heard from your own department, Zero Fares is wildly successful. It would not be cost effective to collect fares again. And, you know, I just want to advocate that that program continue because it makes a huge difference in the lives of so many. I understand that a lot of people like pickleball, but the buses really get folks to work, to healthcare appointments, and so it's one of the most unique areas where council can and does affect daily change. As my friend said just a minute ago, Sunday it was the birthday of Rosa Parks. It also marks Transit Equity Day. Buses are literally about movements. They've moved people, the Freedom Riders in through the South to do protests. They've moved bracero workers in this community, my grandfather of whom was one of them, to their jobs. And when the strikes were happening, they often used the buses to get to where the strikes were because many of our ancestors, many of our community did not have access to vehicles. And today, we often punish folks who ride the bus. We make it difficult, we make it uncomfortable, we don't put shades, despite the fact that, and you know, I do personal injury cases, so this is kind of against my practice, but they're safer. They cause less car crashes. They're safer for pedestrians. And so hopefully I go out of business because so many people want to ride buses because of how safe they are in our community. And not only that, there's an environmental element that can keep our communities cleaner. If we truly believe in our bus system, like we've shown in recent history, we should reduce the parking requirements for businesses, promote busing. It'll reduce DWIs, a different part of my practice. It would be my hope and wish that council would promote buses to such a level that would put me entirely out of business. Maybe I'll do something entirely different. But for now, business is quite good, and I would hope that council would take that and heed that as an inspiration to invest further in public transit, because what we've seen, based on the recent investment, what we've seen across the state and across the country is that when you invest in buses, you're investing in people. You're investing in people's ability to get where they need to go, and often that is related to health, that is related to employment, that is related to advocacy. It's related to everything that council says they care about in the resolutions that often don't do much. And so this is an area where council and the mayor and the administration can really make an incredible difference in people's lives. And I thank you for having that program, and I encourage its continued support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Jorge Aguirre, and I'm a citizen of Las Cruces, small business owner and employer, and I come here today because I would like to request increased funding for public transportation. Over the last thank you for doing the zero fare too, but over the last several decades, we have developed a city with car-centric mentality of the previous century, which is to build everything for cars and assume a car for every situation. This has made our roads wide and our sidewalks tiny, symbolic even, resulting in a city that is alarmingly difficult to navigate without a car. Even the most menial tasks like buying groceries, a trip to the doctor, or to the bank may take more hours than necessary without a vehicle. The city paves and maintains roads to anyone who drives a car, even if they don't live here, at no additional cost to them. We would like that same benefit for people who don't drive, like those who navigate the city on a wheelchair or by foot, pushing a stroller, or riding electric scooters or bicycles, or the myriad of other personal transportation devices that, in combination with buses that, thank you, are fare-free, that this concept approved, could provide true practical transportation for our citizens at very low cost to our people. This is important because cars are expensive. $12,000 cost last year to own a new car. And the unfortunate gist of the matter is that, and they're also expensive for the city to build and maintain those roads. And the unfortunate gist of the matter is that car-centric development does not generate enough tax revenue to pay for itself. In fact, cars are the most expensive way not to solve the problem. They are dangerous for our elders, expensive for our young, and very often lethal for pedestrians of all ages. I encourage you to find ways to increase bus frequency and add bus service on Sundays, even if it means reducing the budget for traditional car-centric infrastructure, or reducing space for cars to add dedicated bus lanes. I encourage you to find ways to install bollards on all of our streets to protect pedestrians and riders on our bike lanes, especially near bus stops. Yes, cars may be damaged, but it makes more sense to risk potential repairable damage to property that expose the fragile, irreplaceable human bodies of our citizens to being mauled by a vehicle just to run their daily errands. Anyway, we need to fully fund our public transportation to unburden our citizens from having to buy a vehicle to navigate life in our city. And lastly, I'm also, to piggyback on my friend Israel, I'm also a business owner. I sell insurance, and it's very expensive, increasingly so. And people of every income bracket have to buy insurance. It is insanely expensive for us to demand of our citizens to have a car just to exist. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Greetings to the council and the other representatives. Oh, let me adjust this. There we go. My name is William Gilman, Gilman, 1 L on the last name, but 2 in the first name, if we're taking notes. I'm also a Las Cruces resident, a small business owner, and a recent father. I have my daughter with me here today, and she's super cute. I'm also going to comment on the need for improved transit access in the city. And the common counter argument is, well, it's so expensive. But we need to also think about the cost of lack of action, the cost of lack of investment, the opportunity cost that we are losing out on by only investing in a single mode of transportation. For the last few decades and really 100 years, we as a nation and localities have invested in car-centric infrastructure. And once a road is built, the city is on the hook for the maintenance of that road it builds perpetually, forever. It is an endless expense. And in addition, the city has to fund expensive emergency services to respond to crashes. And so I'm going to kind of just talk about the cost of just the crashes that happen on our roads. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration released a report in 2019 that in 1 year, motor accidents caused, $340 billion of expenses to the American people. That's a lot of money. That's about $1,000 per person. And for perspective, according to the Doña Ana County website, if you own a piece of property that's valued at $100,000, you can expect to pay about $850 in taxes. So this is comparable to the tax payments that we pay. It's basically an invisible tax. And so with the population of Las Cruces at about 115,000, our share of that national cost is about $119 million a year. That's quite a lot. Crashes, what do we got? And now this figure also includes medical costs, legal and court fees, emergency services, and other things. So it's not all coming directly from the city, but it is all being paid by us, the American people. And so crashes due to speeding account for 14% of that. Yet we build huge roads with wide lanes that encourage people to drive 50 miles an hour down Roadrunner Parkway, even though the speed limit is 35 miles. It's kind of a joke. Another 20% is from alcohol use, and another 30% is from distracted driving, which is a new epidemic that we have. And all of these things can be mitigated by public transit. You can spend all your time on your phone or on reading a book without being a danger to the public on a bus. And buses are a permanent designated driver on nights out and holidays. So I think it's about time to get real with our accounting on what the actual cost of lack of investment in transit is for our people. I was run off the road November 2022, my car was totaled. I was gonna have this long story about how much I love that truck and how much work I put into it myself and all the sweat and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, it was totaled. We had to buy a new car. That's money that we could have put for a down payment on a house, which is a real asset that actually accrues value over time. Instead, we had to buy a car, which is a liability and always takes more money and depreciates like crazy. Thank you all.
Thank you. I think that covers everyone on the left side. Now on my right side, the second row.
Diane Starbuck for the record with Animal Advocates for Change. Did you know that February is Spay and Neuter Month? Well, if you were here last year, you should know that because I believe I came up here and said the same thing last year. But what has really changed in that year? Well, the new Animal Service Center did open. That's something positive. But we need to follow up on that with a new animal welfare ordinance. The old one is outdated. It's not the best thing. Attitudes about animals have changed. We need a new animal welfare ordinance. Animal Advocates for Change, we're waiting for a reply from the mayor to see what happened to an animal welfare ordinance that was discussed last October and was supposed to be a compromise between all stakeholders. But something else that's happened in the last year for 2023, there was 2,740 animals put down. All right, I hope it just doesn't become a number to people. Okay, we need a fully funded, mandated spay and neuter law with exceptions. And I'm requesting that the city council, the mayor, and the city manager please think very seriously about the budget this time with money for animals in the Animal Service Center so they can hire people at a reasonable salary. We saw the study the last board meeting that the salaries were way below what they should be. The county has given money to SNAP. They've hired a vet. I hear they're revamping their mobile unit. I think the city really needs to step up. Thank you.
Thank you. Third row.
Good afternoon. My name is Fred Huff, also known as the Burn Lake Guy. What I want to talk about today is the big homeless camp that was right behind Calichi's over here on Valley Drive. Last Saturday, I was at my house. I live right on the edge of Burn Lake, and I looked over towards Calichi's and saw a massive amount of smoke coming up. Being a camera guy, I grabbed my camera, headed over there as quick as I could, and by then the fire department had the fire out. It was looked like a pile of clothing, probably as big as this podium, if not bigger, that had been burned. It was right there at the back of Calichi's. The smoke had filled that area and everything. Also real close to the Farm Bureau building and a daycare. So anyway, I walked around and saw all the just absolute junk. It was ferocious of what I saw over there. And of course, taking a lot of pictures, as I typically always do. And finally, I decided, well, I'm gonna walk through this camp and take pictures. And because I'm sure most of you may realize when you see something in real life, and then you go back and look at pictures, your eyes mess a lot of stuff. And I figured, okay, I'm gonna snap a lot of pictures and see what was there that I messed with my eyes live. And I was snapping those pictures. I decided if anybody was hostile or threatening to me, I would make my way over towards the firemen that were still there. And I got about 3/4 of the way through the camp, and a guy about 100 feet away to the north came out at me. He was quite a bit bigger than me. And he was shouting at me. Every other word was a cuss word. And I ignored him until basically he got right in my face. And in these moments, I had migrated over towards the fire department guys. They intervened. They basically saved my rear end and allowed me to make a safe exit. Today, the police are cleaning out that camp, so by the time I get done with the city council, that should be all cleaned up. And I do want to express a heartfelt, deep gratitude to our firefighters and our police force for the job that they do. My question is, where do these people go? We need some sort of solution, and I would sure like to work with the city on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next row.
Good afternoon. Mayor and city councilors, my name is Rochelle. Hold on. My name is Rochelle Pugh Swafford. I'm a native Las Cruces. I was born on Alameda Street 60 years ago tomorrow. So you have a day left if I'm your birthday present. Saturday afternoon, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a young man was shot in the street across the street from my home, a home I bought as a single mom by myself on my own income. I'm very proud of that home, and I'm very proud of my neighborhood. But across the street from me is some apartments where a well-known drug dealer conducts business every single day. And on Saturday, I believe, I don't know all the details, but I believe it was a drug deal gone bad. A young man lost his life in front of my home. The neighborhood, and some of my neighbors are here with me today, we've been complaining about the situation across the street from my house for years, and nothing has happened. The police have arrested people over there. The next day, they're back out. And I know you guys are not judges and you're not the district attorney, but something's got to be done about the catch and release program. It's not working. The crime statistics on your website, they look great, but when you're not arresting people and you're not charging people and there is no convictions, the crime statistics look really good. But the reality is really bad. So I'm going to ask respectfully the mayor and the city council and the police chief to increase the patrols in the Alameda neighborhood, specifically on Armijo Street. Yesterday afternoon, after the smoke had cleared and all of the police had left the neighborhood, once again, it was business as usual for the drug dealer across the street from my home. So I would ask that we increase the patrols in the neighborhood and clean up the mess that is across the street with the drug dealer. He owns the apartments where he's conducting his business. So that's one of the things I would like to ask that is done. And also in that neighborhood, just a couple of blocks down the street, is the Alma de Arte High School, Charter High School, and the J. Paul Taylor Charter Elementary School. So this is a neighborhood where there is school kids walking in the neighborhood, elderly people, me, and I'd like to be able to sit on my front porch in the afternoons and on a Saturday afternoon and not fear being shot by a stray bullet by a drug dealer. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on that row? If not, the next row.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. I wasn't going to speak. I try to come once a month just to see what's happening in the city. But I am a tennis player, so I just have to get up and speak at how excited I was when I interviewed for my job at NMSU.
If you could state your name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer Cry. Sorry. So when I came and interviewed and I saw Lions Park, 12 courts, I said, yes, this is my kind of community. I'm a member of the Las Cruces Tennis Association. I'm not a spokesman for them, but those 12 courts are critical to the activities that we have when we have community scrambles, when we have summer programs for children to learn how to play tennis. We are involved in the community, so we don't want to give up any courts to pickleball. Pickleball's great, I'm sure, but we are tennis players, as my counselor Corinne will know because I've sent her emails. Just protect what we have, because we're a great organization and it's an important community activity. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Next row. Anyone on that row?
Good afternoon. Welcome to the new mayor, our new Councilor McClure. Even though your sign says William Matisse, I know you're not William Matisse. My name is Donald Wilson. Since the last time I came before the council, I have now become the president of Cruces, but I want to assure you George Pearson is still around. He's just freed up from some of the administrative duties of the organization. At the last time I came to the council, the outgoing mayor, encouraged us to come back when the new council was seated and bring up some of the issues we had brought up before, because since the election's over now, maybe we can get to the business of governing the city. I just wanted to reiterate the two requests from Cruces. The first is to expedite and prioritize the hiring of an active transportation coordinator for the city so that we can work together with the city and the county and improve the pedestrian and bicycle facilities. And then the second request is for the city council to adopt a Vision Zero commitment. It's a long-term commitment to eliminate road user deaths of all kinds. So that's not just bicyclists, but it's pedestrians and motorcyclists and the baby carriage pushers. So we had some people here talking about the importance of making the roads safe and equitable for all users. So those requests are out there. Cruces is standing ready to assist the city in this effort. We'll make sure we mobilize the groups to staff the various committees so that we can take a safe systems approach to improving traffic safety and road use safety in Las Cruces. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, on that same row.
Hi, my name is Eden Luche, and I am referring to the same incident that Rochelle did. If I don't keep eye contact, because I've got to read this. On Saturday, February 3rd.
Ma'am, could you speak directly into the microphone so
Yeah.
it get recorded? Thank you.
Did you hear my name?
You got it?
Yeah, Eden T. Luche.
Yeah, thank you.
On Saturday, February 3rd, at approximately 3:16 p.m., I witnessed a man being shot dead at approximately 3:16 with a shotgun on the Armijo side of 335 Van Patten. This property is located exactly 200 yards from the J. Paul Taylor School, where I am the contract school nurse. I've also been at Alma since 2018. Alma and J. Paul Taylor are right behind each other. There are 200 yards between the corner of their lot and exactly where the blood pile is still left from Saturday. There's 75 yards from my house, my corner house, and I have a direct view of this property to the Armijo side of 335 Van Patten. I was on the phone, I was working on my computer, and I looked to the right, and the shooter was there, the gentleman was there. He shot him with a shotgun. It was hard to miss the sound. It was very loud. The victim stood for a minute, and then he dropped, and it was confirmed yesterday he is deceased. And I was on 911 the whole time. I had reported that there was a white and slide gold tint on the bottom of either Explorer or an Expedition. The gentleman driving that car with short white sleeves got out of his car, spoke with the shooter. They both kind of used their feet to touch and see if he was alive. And then the guy with the white short surf got back in his car. And then the guy with the shotgun wrapped back into the property. This has happened so many times. This exact same scenario happened August 17th of 23. We were out of town, but our tenant that lives at 701 Armijo called and said there's a shooting at 335 Van Patten. What happens at 335 Van Patten is it's a 24/7 drug dealing issue. They've been raided by the DEA, LCPD, state police. I know I'm out of town, but we have called and called and called. We call every time. And the problem is the response has become less and less and less. Yesterday or Saturday, the only reason that the response was so quick, which I appreciate, was because there was a dead person in front of my house.
Ma'am, the time is up. Thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you guys are well aware that we have a major problem in the historic district.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on that row? Next row. Eighth row. Last row. I think that concludes everybody on the right side. Is that everybody? Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for your public participation. Next on the agenda is a closed meeting statement. The Las Cruces City Council met in closed session at 10:38 a.m. on January 22nd, 2024. The following members were in attendance. Myself, Mayor Eric Enriquez, Councilor Cassie McClure, Councilor William Matisse, and he left at 11:30 a.m. Councilor Becky Graham, Mayor Pro Tem Bencomo, Councilor Coran arrived at 10:59, and Councilor Flores was absent. City staff, City Manager Ifo Pili, ACM Sonia Delgado, Ikani Tamopayao, Barbara Bencomo, Police Chief Jeremy Story, Assistant Attorney Brad Douglas, and City Attorney Linda Samples. External were attorneys Haley Grant, Luis Robles, and Bonnie DeWitt. The meeting adjourned at 12:48 p.m. Statement for the record, the Las Cruces City Council met in closed session and only discussed those items as stated in the posted notice. The purpose of the closed meeting was to discuss pending litigation regarding Mark Anthony Montoya versus Alonso L. Vasquez Jr., which is closed pursuant to New Mexico State Statute 1978, Section 10-15-1H7. We also discussed pending litigation regarding Yasmin Gutierrez versus City of Las Cruces, which is closed pursuant to New Mexico State Statute 1978, 10-15-1H7. We also discussed pending litigation regarding Brandon Barron versus City of Las Cruces, which again closed pursuant to New Mexico State Statute 1978, 10-15-1H7. We also discussed pending litigation regarding the estate of Teresa Gomez versus City of Las Cruces, case number 223-00952, which is closed pursuant to New Mexico State Statute 1978, Section 10-15-1H7. Also discussed pending litigation regarding Robert Louis Ramsey versus City of Las Cruces, which also closed pursuant to 1978, Section 10-15-1H7. Long closed session. Next, we'll need the acceptance of agenda.
So moved by Flores. Second, Graham. This is on the motion to accept the agenda as presented. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse is absent. Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes. Next, we have old business, and I believe, do we have a motion or a second to remove from the table for discussion the old business?
So moved, Graham.
Seconded, Corin.
Do we have a first and second?
This is on the motion to remove Resolution 24-050 from the table for discussion. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse is absent. Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
I make a motion to table indefinitely this item.
Second, Graham. This is on the motion to table Resolution 24-050 indefinitely. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse is absent. Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Coran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes. Next, we have resolution number 24-080, a resolution adopting the North Rise Blueprint Plan. David Weir.
Mayor and City Council.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Bencomo.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. This is David Weir, the Community Development Department. I'm here to present to you for approval of blueprint that was initiated by the City of Las Cruces, and its purpose was to assure future access and coordinated development of a vacant parcel on the northeast side of town. The city contracted with, it's been a Monday to say the least. The city contracted with the site Southwest to assist us with the preparation of the plan. Next slide, just want to give you a couple of reasons that we started the blueprint plan development. In particular, wanted to call out that it provides policy guidance for development, not only to the City Council, but the Planning and Zoning Commission and city staff and the general public. In this particular case, the purpose of the plan was one, to promote the policies of Elevate Las Cruces, in particular growth management and the physical development of the city. We wanted to make sure that there was adequate public facilities as land develops. And the biggest issue in this particular property was to make sure that no properties were landlocked and there was a rational transportation network to serve the property. And then all of that follows into making sure that we plan and have rational development within the city. The property itself is located generally south of North Rise Drive, east of Roadrunner Parkway, and north of the Alameda Arroyo. It contains approximately 62 acres, and there are 18 individual parcels within that tract. It has a variety of zoning: A2, which is like an agricultural open space; R4, which is a multi-family, which has some limited office and commercial use; and Equestrian State, which again is more of a rural zoning district. The area outlined in black is the 63 acres. The Alameda Arroyo goes through the property in this general direction. There's just a very small corner of it that has access to North Rise Drive, and then the rest of it is easements to be able to locate the property. This shows you some of the topography. Again, you can see the floodplain where the arroyo goes through. Some of the contours show that there's quite a bit of relief, or there's a high point here, it drops down, another high point in this area, and again, it drops down to the arroyo. So it's a unique property within the city. This is just some of the other background showing that it is served or has access to all utilities, so it is potentially that it could be developed. Again, this shows you the existing condition of the property. So it's basically desert, vacant desert land, but there have been some access to it. As you can see, there's some utilities that traverse the property. As the plan was developed, it came up, excuse me, it came up with 4 goals for it. One was to make sure that there was an interconnected roadway so that all properties would have access. The second was that as those roadways were developed, that it would make sure that there was safe access and that it would follow the complete street guidance of the city. The third goal was that we would respect the arroyo and make sure development is in keeping with the area in that area. And then again, just to make sure that we had planned growth in that area going forward. The graphic representation of this plan is what you have on this slide. So the solid green are the potential roadways and access points. There's some dash green areas that are other areas that could be explored for that. As development takes place, we would look at that. And it also has the trail system, how that would go into the city's adopted plans, their pedestrian and active transportation goals. The plan was developed. One thing the city did and Site Southwest did was reach out to the property owners. They had a couple of opportunities to provide their input. One was in September of last year, and then there was also one in October that could be done remotely. We also reached out to adjacent property owners and also some of the governmental entities. We spoke with the principal of Camino Real Middle School. We spoke with the State Land Office, and then also our inter-office departments. One other entity we spoke with was New Mexico State University. They own one of the tracks adjacent to the property. The plan was put together, again, based on that outreach and engagement and participation of the property owners. It was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission. They made a recommendation of approval at their December meeting. There was no opposition at that meeting. In fact, there were 2 property owners that came in support of it and also got together to start discussing if they wanted to jointly look at how they could develop their property. The findings that were made by the Planning and Zoning Commission was, one, it was in keeping with Elevate Las Cruces. The road sections provided for multimodal transportation. The blueprint provides a means for property owners to work with one another and also make sure that they had access to their property when they chose to develop it. And then also it kept in with the guidelines for developing a blueprint. So with that, you have your normal options to approve, deny, or modify with conditions, and I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Any questions by council? Councilor Grant?
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks so much, David. Just one comment and one question. I want to agree with the Planning and Zoning Commission comments on how nice this blueprint plan looked. So shout out to you, Sarah Gonzalez, and the consultant. I found this very palatable, very easy to read, so appreciated that. And based on that blueprint, I know that this is, well, making sure this is part of the suburban neighborhood place type, which does allow for both low and moderate density housing. And I just want to ensure that we are going to uphold our commitment to housing density, to multifamily housing. And if you could give just a little idea of how that might look in this particular area.
Certainly, Mayor and Councilor Graham. First, I want to give a shout out to Sarah Gonzalez. She was the one that really championed and shepherded this plan through, and Danny Wilson with Site Southwest. So I just have the pleasure of presenting it to you, but they both did all the hard work. In regards to the area, there is an area, the inside the plan that's already zoned R4, and so that has the multifamily component. The suburban neighborhood, as called out in Elevate Las Cruces, has that mixed use. It has the full ranges of houses, has appropriate commercial development in it. Because a couple of the zoning categories that are on here are ones that we asked that they rezone and going forward, so any person that would come forward with development would have to rezone those portions, and then staff would make recommendations. They follow Elevate Las Cruces. The other thing that will take place is, as a part of the Realize Las Cruces adoption, there's a whole rezoning of the city's map, and at that point in time, we would recommend that that suburban neighborhood designation be placed on this property. And again, it would have those list of land uses, including multifamily and other housing types. And I forget if there was another question in there.
No, just a shout out to how pretty the plan itself was, and yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor, that's all.
Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Dave, Mr. Weir. My concern is manifold. Looking just at page 10, did you say that the development would be above the sort of horseshoe, the upside, all the development, so it's adjacent to the arroyo? Is that correct?
Mayor and Councilor Flores, yes,
Yes.
the arroyo is adjacent to this. You see the light, the light lines? Those are individual parcels, and so what the green reflects is a way for all of them to have a roadway so that they could be accessed. Development in floodplains is very limited, and so they either couldn't develop in that area, or they would have to come up with a way to engineer, change the floodplain area and go forward. But the property's been purchased and has had those designations on it for quite some time.
For quite some time. My concern is I think there's a development just south of that, and that's where there has been some flooding due to the arroyo. I don't know the years it was before I sat on city council, but became aware of it and going to community meetings when Seal Livatino was our councilor in that district. And there was an outcry by residents who lived there who had experienced that flooding. And everybody seems to think that, oh, these floods, they only happen once in a blue moon. But if that blue moon happens to be me, I'm going to care about it. If it's going to affect a woman, a couple, an elderly couple who, I think it was Mr. and Mrs. White. I think Mr. White passed away from a heart condition that was attributed to the stress of having that flood and having paid a number, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000 to prevent their flooding to happen. I think it happened a couple of times again. I don't remember the years, but so my concern always is for the well-being of people and the safety. Have there been any studies insofar as the proximity of the development and the homes that would be built there to the arroyo? And I know that no one can predict when that arroyo would, or right now it's just like a dry gulch, a huge dry gulch, but it does happen. So has the city taken all necessary steps to assure that in the event there is a deluge, if there's, that the homes there, the roads would be safe?
Mayor and Councilor Flores, I think what you're expressing is one of the reasons we wanted to be sure and go forward with this blueprint plan. There is no development proposed for this property at all right now. The plan just calls out that the city recognizes that future development, those things would be looked at. So in the development process, that if any flood area or any development take place would have to be reviewed. And the desire is the plan could be utilized to not only make sure there's quality development here, but we would advance or we would learn from other past development. I think the area you're talking about was the arroyo on this side?
No. Is this near Los Amigos or Los,
No. This is the Walmart, the east side Walmart.
oh, yes, it was on the other side.
And
But the arroyo still abuts with, with that side, so.
correct. But those more detailed flood analysis take place when there's actual either a subdivision or if there's a building permit for a property in that area. And at that time, they would have to address the way that they would either stay out of that flood area or take measures to make sure that there wouldn't be additional damage.
But you know, Mr. Weir, with all due respect, it seems to me that a layperson such as myself who isn't familiar with this, yes, it's wonderful that it's consistent with Realize Las Cruces, yada, yada, blah, blah, but it's still very close to the arroyo there, the road. You said that the green lines are proposed or potential roadways. That's still very close.
Mayor and
Yeah, you can
Councilor.
call me mayor.
I said, it apparently has been a Monday all day. Again, I think that's the reason that we wanted to do these blueprints. If those type of issues come up before development is even proposed to you, they're aware of what they're going to have to deal with. It puts not only the property owner, makes them aware of that, but also city staff. We have a public meeting here where you've expressed that you have concern that they develop that and stay out of the arroyo or take every measure possible to ensure that there's no damage to properties where future development would take place. I mean, to me, that's the essence of why we do these plans,
Well,
to address your concerns.
And then, how much weight does my word carry? How much, I mean, I can sit here and cry, you know, boo-hoo, and this doesn't really sound good to me. But I'm here just for a short period of time. As I said, I first learned of this when, in my worst dream, I never thought I would be a city councilor. But that particular event has been etched in my brain, my heart, and this is troublesome to me, Mr. Weir, to see that. I understand what you just said very clearly, that in the event, well, actually, upon the event that there is development there, that all measures will be taken to assure that the flooding doesn't in any way reach the homes. But as we all know, we don't control water. We don't control, an outburst, and that's why that on the other side that happened to several people. But it was the ones that were I met that particular day, and it had a horrible impact on them. And they put their life savings into something that was recommended, and it still didn't work. And their house flooded not once but twice. So, this sort of stuff just really is problematic to me. I don't know if I don't know exactly. With all due respect to the department and to the Planning and Zoning Commission, I don't know if they're aware of the history of that arroyo. I think we take it for granted that, or not granted, but we think, oh, it's just dry, just there'll never be a deluge. So, but I just hope that when the time comes for development that, I just hope that the city does keep an eye on that and that there's the safety concern. Thank you, Mr. Weir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else? No, we're good. Go ahead, proceed.
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 24-080. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse is absent. Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
No.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next is 9.2, Resolution Number 24-081, a resolution approving an amendment to Professional Service Agreement 19-20-077A Police Auditor Services. The OIR Group of Playa del Rey, California, adding up to 4 community outreach meetings per fiscal year. Motion.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Corin.
Okay, we have Virginia Varela.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilors, City Staff. Virginia Varela with the Financial Services Department. And before you today is a resolution to approve the amendment to the Police Auditing Services Agreement. The City of Las Cruces required proposals for police auditing services, which was advertised on November 2nd, 2020. 3 proposals were received and were brought before the Selection Advisory Committee for evaluation on December 17th, 2020. It was the recommendation of SAC to award the professional services agreement to the OIR group. And a professional service agreement was executed on March 4th, 2021. The original agreement was for 1 year with 4 options to renew, and currently we are in year 3 of the contract. The city and OIR mutually desire to modify the terms of this agreement. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to. The city and OIR mutually desire to modify the terms of this agreement and add up to 4 community outreach meetings per fiscal year, which will increase the meetings that are provided as part of the contract. And at this time, the amendment will not alter the overall cost of the contract. And before you are your options.
Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you so much for your presentation. Can you go back to page 3?
Oops.
So those, the first dotted amendment, up to 4 community outreach meetings per fiscal year. Where would those community outreach meetings be held?
I will have to revert to either Ms. Viola Perea for answers or Chief Story for that.
Chief Story, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilor Flores. The language is fairly open so that we could be flexible, but they would be held in Las Cruces, maybe in council chambers or at another location around the city.
Okay, so it could be in different districts, council districts, or just a place where, anyway, different locations, and that, who would make that decision, city manager or you or city council? Or I'm just trying to see how.
Per the contract, they could be anywhere in the city of Las Cruces. I'll defer to the city manager.
Great.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. Yeah, we wanted it to be in an area that would be accessible to be able to have a setup like this. So our preference would be council chambers. But of course, like you said, we haven't talked about where around the city. If there's an area in the city where we can get more participation, we'll certainly go there. But at this point, we've contemplated council chambers. There are 4, 2 of them coordinate with the time they come here and visit and give their reports.
I see. So it would be like 2. No, there'd be 4.
4.
So in addition to the 2 when they present to council?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chief Story, and thank you, Mr. Peely. And as far as, can you go to page 4? Or was that the questions? Yeah, never mind. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. I just reading on the packet on Exhibit B, there is a list of the kind of meetings that will be held. I imagine this came from the contractor, this came from OIR?
Yes, the original list was part of the original contract of the type of meetings.
Okay, so under where it says meetings, it says city leadership. Where's David Weir? Yeah, it's Monday. Police, it says police chief and command staff, community leaders and other stakeholders. Goal is to gain perspective on status of the police department and identify its specific concerns and then gather input from the department. So these 4 meetings could be community meetings, they could be meetings with city staff, with the department. That's what these up to 4 meetings would include? No.
No, Mayor Pro Tem, this is really in response to the community wanting an opportunity to address this group with, you know, in light of transparency and being able to have that communication directly with the OIR group. So this is specifically community opportunity for the community to be able to address them directly with any questions that they have regarding the report.
Perfect. That's my whole question. Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, McClure.
Just quickly, would these be recorded? Could these be recorded?
You know, we haven't even, I don't know if we talked about that, if we were going to record them or not. I don't know. Anybody have any thoughts on it? Is that a wish of the council to have these recorded?
I think it's a good idea.
I mean, if it's a public.
Yeah, it's a public meeting.
I think.
Perdón.
Just to that point, I think for feedback, I think if it's a public meeting, then it should be recorded.
Chief Story, did you have anything to add?
Thank you, Mayor. We did discuss it, and so there's pros and cons, of course, to everything. One thing that did come up, if we record the meetings, it might discourage certain residents from coming and voicing their concerns if they felt like there was a recorded record. So it's just something to consider. I'm neutral either way because there's pros and cons.
Yeah, thank you. Any other? Go ahead, Corinne.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank you for re-upping this and revisiting it and adding the transparency component. I just sort of want to speak back to the idea of why we were working with OIR and what it's meant. I think as far as community engagement goes, I think that you all have seen the LCPD has been doing extraordinary work on this front. I think that I'm really optimistic about the ways that Chief Story and his leadership have been working on thinking about community sort of engagement and proactive sort of understanding of how policing happens in our community. And so I just want to appreciate you all, and that the way that you have worked with OIR to make changes, I think has been something really interesting and powerful. And so I just want to thank you for being reflective in that way and in the way that you all are leading. So I think I guess I'm all of this to say I think this is a productive relationship that we have, and I appreciate the chief's willingness to sort of continue on and expand that in this way. So I just wanted to put in context, like, we are re-upping a contract to work with an organization, and there's a reason, and it's been really productive so far, I believe. So thank you.
Is that everyone? Good. Go ahead, Christine.
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 24-081. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse is absent. Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Yeah. Next, 9.3, resolution number 24-082, a resolution to award a professional service agreement for metropolitan redevelopment area plan development services to Places Southwest, Inc., doing business as Site Southwest LTC of Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the amount not to exceed $220,482 plus gross receipts tax as applicable.
Move to approve. Corin.
Second, Flores.
Again,
Okay.
good
And
afternoon,
Virginia, go.
Mayor, councilors, city staff. For the record, again, my name is Virginia Varela, and before you today is a resolution to approve the service agreement for the MRA plan development with Site Southwest. The city of Las Cruces has designated 2 areas as metropolitan redevelopment areas to address issues of blight and poverty. The city has prioritized efforts to alleviate poverty in the community and will provide local and state resources to assist efforts in the alleviation of poverty, providing support to local businesses, options of quality of life, and affordable housing. The city requires professional services agreements for the creation of an MRA plan for the designated El Paseo South Solano corridor. The plan will define the city's vision and identify revitalization projects for the designated areas, examine existing conditions and assets, develop a physical land use plan with livable guidelines, designate specific redevelopment sites and projects, identify sustainable implementation strategies and specific funding sources for each priority project, and be in alignment with the city's Elevate Las Cruces plan. The requests for proposals for these services were advertised on June 9th, 2023. 3 proposals were received and brought before the Selection Advisory Committee for evaluation on September 13th, 2023. It was the recommendation of SAC to award the professional service agreement to Site Southwest of Albuquerque, New Mexico in an amount not to exceed $220,482. And before you are your options.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Thanks again. I have just a couple questions on the process, and really, it's not to place blame or anything on any specific person, but I do just want to name from my end just my concerns about how long it took for us to get here. And I know that revitalization, I know that we have a new council, but I do know that it has been a big priority for the city, because I think we all know that what happens on El Paseo, South Solano, West Picacho impacts what happens or doesn't happen impacts the rest of the city. And so, just really want to make a point about, somebody said the other day at a meeting, moving at the speed of government. And often I'm like, well, it's not our money. Like, we have to do our due diligence, right, as we move through these processes, because it's not my money to spend. We have to be careful. And sometimes I do get frustrated about just some of these pieces and how slower they're moving, especially because even last year during the legislative session, we had a huge win around the MRA and how it could really make an even bigger impact. And so I just do want to reiterate, at least that this revitalization is key priority for me. Now, that being said, I know that this was just for the El Paseo South Solano corridor.
Yes.
Can you talk about West Picacho? I mean, I don't want to be leaving at the end of my term and just then West Picacho is sort of coming up to an RFP. Can you provide because I know that when we last approved both of these areas, we said we would stagger them, one with just given all the data that it was presented from the MRA, the initial assessment, we said El Paseo Solano would be a priority. And begrudgingly, I was like, okay, West Picacho can be the second one. But I wanted to ask City publicly if you had any ideas around when the West Picacho RFP would be moving forward.
So I don't have a timeline for that, do you, Chris? Oh my gosh, sorry.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Chris Favor with Economic Development for the record. I had a feeling you'd have some questions, so I came prepared. So today we are approving the contract for El Paseo South Solano. On the 7th, actually, we are going to SAC for the start the procurement process for the West Picacho MRA. My hope is that we can go through the process through the springtime, and by the summertime, we'll be back here with another contract with consultants to begin that process sometime later in the summer or early in the fall.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. I think even especially, and I know you've mentioned this before in a public meeting around the cannabis dollars, and there's just such a big opportunity there to really get these going before they start making their own money essentially, and I think the staggered process works well, so I appreciate the update. And this probably is a question for you too, but I also wanted to ask around, or maybe our city manager, if there are dedicated staff that are sort of leading the MRA projects forward, and if there is not, I would like to make an advocacy for that right now.
And I know Chris and his, sorry, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, I know Chris and his team have been essentially leading the way, or Elizabeth, the Economic Development Department. I don't know if we have anybody, say, an MRA, staff member that's been designated as the MRA person, but I mean, I don't know if there's anybody else within your Economic Development Department that have been helpful, or I guess assigned specifically. But as of now, we don't have a MRA designated person.
Okay, and I really, Ifo, I just asked because I don't know why it for me took this long to get here on this, but I don't want it to fall through the cracks, and so I really do hope that we can designate some folks to lead the project.
Sure, Mayor Pro Tem, if I could have a moment here. So I do have with me Blair Flores. She's the newest member of our Economic Development Department. She is an Economic Development Coordinator who will be working specifically within the MRAs. So while it'll be a coordinated effort among staff, she will be the point person between business development, the consultants, the community, and then ultimately back to City Council. So right now she's in the process of going out, meeting with all the businesses, establishing that database and those connections so that when the public input does begin early in the process and continues throughout, she will be a good point person to liaison between the consultants and the community and get the businesses engaged. So she's not an official title as MRA, she's an Economic Development Coordinator, but she'll be leading those efforts. And then as we move from one MRA to another, she will also move around and reprioritize the areas that she is working within. So,
What was the name again?
her name is Blair Flores.
Blair.
She's been with us for
You're
a
about
few
to be
weeks.
my new favorite person, Blair. Okay, thank you. And I'll just make an ask, Blair, that if so as you see on the resolution, it covers District 1, 2, 3, 4, that you invite any of us to anything you might feel is relevant, because I think this is a big priority for all of us. So welcome, and welcome, Elizabeth. Welcome back. Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Those are all my questions.
Anyone else? No? Well, thank you, Chris, and welcome, Blair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia.
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 24-082. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse is absent. Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes. Next, we have 9.4, Council Bill number 24-019, ordinance number 3061, and ordinance amending Chapter 27 Traffic Article 1 and Article 6 of the Las Cruces Municipal Code 1997 by adding new definitions and regulations of electric vehicle charging parking spaces.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Corin.
Okay, Lisa?
Hello, Mayor, Council, and City Management. My name is Lisa LaRock. I'm the Sustainability Officer for the City of Las Cruces. And today I have a quick presentation that has to do with electric vehicle parking. So every time we have a new technology or approach, it has lots of extra bells and whistles to it, and this is this one. So right now, we have 40 public chargers around the city. There's 8 of them in 7 different locations that belong to the city, and the rest are in other parts of the city by other public or private entities. And we just got the Doña County just got a grant for a large amount of money to be putting in all sorts of EV chargers, both within and outside of the city limits. So the presence of EV chargers is important to incorporate in our ordinances, because they're just little stands, and people don't understand them quite well enough, and so they park in them as if they would park in any parking spot, because a parking lot is a convenient place to put them because it takes a couple hours to charge. So we've just piggybacked on some language that already exists in the ordinances about stopping, standing, and parking, and added another line that has to do with don't park in an EV charging parking lot. And we've been very sensitive to the fact that we don't put chargers in places where there's only a few spots, and that we always accommodate ADA, so there's opportunities to be able to use it for everyone. And the charge, if you do park and codes finds you, is $56, which is comparable to lots of other cities and is the going rate for parking in the wrong place. One thing I did want to share with you, it's off the record, but I wanted you to have the swag that's necessary now that we're in the EV world. What happens when some other vehicle that's not an electric vehicle parks in a charging station is that internal combustible engine, ICE, has iced the spot. So there you go. That is my contribution for your swag today, and that is what I have to present. So I stand for questions and your vote.
Councilor Graham.
Thank you, Mayor. So admittedly, I'm someone who is really easily annoyed, and something that super annoys me is if I am, okay, great, so I'm part of the problem, so I'm at the gas station, and somebody has used the gas pump, but then they're gonna go, like they're gonna go hang out in the gas station, maybe get a soda, and I'm sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. If you are, in good faith, charging your electric vehicle, but then you're like, I'm just gonna stay parked here, is that what the standing part refers to? So if you flip back a slide, like what happens if you are an EV and you have faithfully charged your EV, but then you're just not coming back, and you're not icing the spot, you're easing the spot? I don't know.
Eving.
Yeah, you're eving the spot. Is that what the standing part refers to?
Mayor, Councilor Graham, not in this case. It would just mean that you were idling, what standing is. But I feel your pain, and there is something that we do as a city, and since this is recorded, I hope others learn from this, but the common practice is you can, if you're still plugged in, which you would be because you haven't returned, you get a parking charge. So let's say it costs you $2 in electricity for each hour that you're there while you're charging, you'll still pay another $2. So they're not getting a free ride, they're paying for parking. I agree with you, though, that that's still inappropriate because they're not leaving it open for other EV folks. But the other thing is that most apps that you use will tell you, hey, your charge is up, and there is a fine, or there is an additional fee. So that is the prompt that's there. And there's a lot of times that you can even reserve an upcoming spot, so the nasty grams are even more encouraging to move.
So we're saying that passive-aggressive Tesla owners are going to police themselves on this?
One would hope.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor Corinne.
I just want to thank you for presenting this, and I am first of all, $56 sounds like a great number. I just got a $35 ticket at NMSU, and I am 100% going to park illegally again there, I'm sure. I'll take my chances. Bring it. $35 is not enough to change my behavior, but $56 sounds like something I should rethink. But I did want to just sort of talk about this just to make sure folks understand the context. While we're happy that many of these businesses have EV charging stations, can folks call codes on like at Chick-fil-A if someone is parked in, like, is that, this is really for our city parking spots, right?
That's
Just to clarify. So the private businesses, we're happy for them, but they're gonna have to regulate this on their own. I might recommend $100 tickets for them, you know, at Chick-fil-A, give the person a $100 ticket. But that's correct, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so while it's good to know where those are at the businesses, this ordinance does not go into that domain. Please don't call the police on an electric car at Chick-fil-A.
Mayor, Councilor Coran, you have, yes,
Okay.
it is, that private property is just that.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify so that they don't get those calls of passive-aggressive Tesla drivers, or straight-up aggressive Tesla drivers, I don't know.
Or cooperative ones.
Thank you. Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you so much, Lisa. And can you go back to page 3? Okay, so so the fee is $56 for being there beyond the time of charging. Is that correct?
Mayor, Councilor Flores, yes.
Okay. So
If you're, excuse me, if you're not actively charging.
Correct. So you can leave your car there. If it takes a couple of hours, you can go to the, to the Saturday market or whatever, if it's downtown. And so is there a way, I don't have an EV, so I don't know this. So how would you determine, or how would the enforcement person, what would they look at? It just shows that it's being charged, and there's a little thing that shows that it's not charged yet.
Mayor, Councilor Flores, you're right. That's what you can see, the charging.
I'm a thinker. But I think this is great. I think it's a fair thing to do. But the only thing I would ask for is that there's a lot of, that the word really gets out, because you're absolutely correct. There are people who are parked in those, especially that little grig between Griggs and, little alley-like between Griggs and Main Street. People are parked there, and it's not even an EV. I mean, not even close. So I think it'd be good, since this is a new. Okay, so when would it go into effect? Do you know? If we say yes, say it passes today, when does it become law? How long does it take?
Mayor, Councilor Flores, I'm embarrassed to say I don't know the answer to that question. I can certainly find out for you.
Maybe it should be part of this proposal, or part of the statute, part of the ordinance, as to when it goes into effect.
Mayor and Councilor Flores, one thing that I was going to do was to put out a to get signage that identifies that this will be a fee if you do park illegally, and
you mean a fine?
Fined, yes, thank you. You'll be fined if you park incorrectly, if you ice the parking spot.
Yeah, so that's good that you want to get that.
And then we'll send a press release out for that.
And
I don't know if there should be a time lag for this. It is a pretty common sense practice, but
I think proposed,
would defer to you.
Yeah, but I think proposed ordinances or local laws do have a date. It is?
It does.
Yeah, I didn't see it here.
No, it's in the packet. April 1. It goes into effect April 1.
April Fool.
I don't know if that's April Fool's Day, but April 1.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's so nice to have you here.
And thank you so much, Lisa, for everything you do.
I'm sorry.
No one else? Christine?
Oh, you have to vote.
This is on the motion to approve ordinance 3061. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse is absent. Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next, we go into board appointments. I'm going to go ahead and need a motion and a second. This is for Beverly Drum to the Veterans Advisory Board.
I move to approve. Second.
This is on the motion to appoint Beverly Drum to the Veterans Advisory Board. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse is absent. Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Abstain.
You can only abstain if you left the room.
You can only abstain if you leave the room? Well, pretend I left the room. No.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next, we have the notice of proposed ordinance. This is Council Bill number 24-020, ordinance number 3062, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the sale of the City of Las Cruces, New Mexico taxable general obligation improvement bonds series 2024 in the principal amount of $6 million payable from ad valorem taxes levied on all taxable property within the city, levied without limit as a rate or amount, providing for the form, certain terms and conditions of the bonds, the manner of their execution, and the method of and security for payment thereof, providing for the method of sale and bonds pursuant to a public competitive sale, providing for the maturity dates and the amounts, interest rates, prices, redemption, features, and other final terms of the bond to be established in an award certificate delegating authority to the city manager and city financial services director to award the bonds to the purchaser and providing for other details concerning the bonds.
Bring it forward.
Okay, next we're at City Council member board reports and comments. I'll start at the end with Councilor McClure.
I don't have much this week, but I wish people would stay, partially because I really value that everyone feels the need to advocate for different issues. And I feel like if the United States had universal health care, a lot of these issues, these frankly heartbreaking issues, would get resolved and helped. Thank you.
Thank you. Grant?
Well, yeah, I'll second that as somebody who voted for Bernie Sanders every single time I had the opportunity to. Yeah, no, for real. I'd like to thank amazing community advocate Athena Huckabee. We're having some great meetings about really hard problems that we are all facing as a community, and it's refreshing to see people working so hard on also hard solutions. I'm not a pickleball expert, but I have been in pickleball meetings, and one thing that was kind of revelatory to me, so from what I understand, the dealie with pickleball versus tennis is the line configuration on the courts. So they have different areas, and that would require different lines. And obviously painting a lot of different lines is kind of a no-go because it gets really confusing. Taping different lines is problematic. I'm looking towards Sonia because I think you told me this. When you take the tape up and then all the sticky gunk is left over, then dirt collects on said sticky gunk and makes a cleaning problem. However, there are, I'm gonna say vinyl, but I don't know if it's actually vinyl. There are plastic overlays that you can bring to any area, put down, and you have like this Insta pickleball court. I know this is probably not up to pickleball Olympic standards or whatever, but it is a nice temporary solution where we could dedicate a different sporting court to, say, a pickleball tournament. Again, I'm sure there are problems with the vinyl overlays, but that was something that I feel like was presented to me an hour into a pickleball meeting that I'm like, wow, bury the lead there. That was a pretty easy solution. So anyway, look into look into these things with pickleball. And then finally, just a shout out and a plug. I'm sure a lot of people who follow local boxing and fighting know that Austin Trout, our former WBA champion, who started his career at the Las Cruces Pal Boxing Gym. Come out any night. I'm there. I'm volunteering. I'm happy to throw punches with you, for you, at you. Austin got his start there, and he won a belt over the weekend in bare knuckle fighting championship, I believe, welterweight class, which is just an incredible move up in a new, in a new form of fighting for him. And I was delighted to see still repping Las Cruces, even though he's not living here full time anymore. So shout out, Austin, no doubt Trout, still our champ. And just wanted to acknowledge that and see where you can go when you start off in Las Cruces Pal Boxing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Graham. Councilor Corinne.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Graham. And I will third the universal health care, so we pretty much are on our way to making it happen. Just a really quick note, tomorrow we don't have a TSI PRC, and I know that our PRC members are really excited, and some folks who are here today actually often come to our TSI PRC, so I just want to say that we're on a hiatus with a planned future to be determined, but we don't have a meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30, so I didn't want folks to show up who often do. So a quick note, the other thing that I wanted to highlight is I wanted to thank Letty and Deb, who are two folks organizing a neighborhood watch in Metro Verde and my district, and they've been working with Officer Velasco to sort of set that up, and it's really sweet to see folks caring about their neighborhood and to see how well LCPD can support them and just watch this magic happen, because it's also a really interesting, my district is kind of different from other folks' districts, I think, in that the average age might be a little bit older than other places. But for me, one of the more exciting things is to see people of different generations coming together to look out for their neighborhood and in different ways. So it's really cool to see that neighborhood watch coming along. And so I really just wanted to show gratitude to LCPD for helping that happen and giving that space, and to the community organizers that are really thinking about how to support their neighborhood and support their neighbors and build community. So otherwise, I think that's it for today.
Thank you, Councilor Corinne. Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, just following up on what Councilor Graham said about universal health care, I totally agree with that. I think that there's so many countries in the world that are, and I'm not going to name them, that are less fortunate than we are insofar as our whatever our standing is. But, well, that's a different story there, notwithstanding. I don't understand why we don't have universal health care. You would think that it would be a moral duty to provide it, especially since we tout ourselves as being one of the most advanced nations in the world. And when I hear that, I think, well, pity the rest of the world, because when it comes to health care, it's terrible, it's dismal. And I think Yoli has made it very clear to us, and I really want to applaud her for not letting up. And for those of you who don't know, she started up CARE. I don't know what the acronym, it's cancer related and helping people. Actually, it comes out of her own pocket. And I don't know if she's we encouraged her to get a, what do you call it, a nonprofit status so that she can, so that she can get some money. I think she might have done that. Nonetheless, for Mr. Peely, our city manager, I know that you sit on the board at Memorial Medical, And I think some of the concerns that she's brought up have been, it's not the first time we hear that. And since you sit on the board, I think it's advisory though, right? You don't, it's not a board of directors, but it's advisory. But they got set up because of the Telshore Fund, or that was part of the deal. And I don't know if Yoli Diaz, if she had a proposal, or if she mentioned a JPA with the county, because the county also has an advisory seat on that board. But I think that's something we can look into, Mr. Peely, because it's just pitiful to hear. And it was interesting that I believe it was all women who came up to talk about their plights. And it's interesting that they shared that, they work, they have kids, they have this, they have that. And also getting, well, I want to use a certain word, but it's not appropriate, but inadequate medical care, because I think there were 1 or 2 women who came up and said that they actually had a different kind of cancer or something, or a consequence, I don't know. But at any rate, I think that the city of Las Cruces has been in the forefront of caring for its residents, its people. And I think this is another way that we can make sure that at least people who live in the area and in the county can at least get a modicum of medical care. The other event is, I think most of us were up in Santa Fe trying to get money for the things that we want to have improve here in our city. And in my humble opinion, our meeting with the governor's office, was that Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday. It seems so long ago. But that was a very good meeting. It was scheduled with the governor, but we didn't meet with her. It was one of her top aides, Jessie Guillen, who was very accepting and was very receptive to what we were asking for. Chief Story was there, Chief Smith was there, our mayor was there, our city manager was there, and Councilor McClure and I think that was it, right? But at any rate, he was very receptive and he asked a lot of questions, because when we're asking for money, they want to know, well, what have you done? I mean, what are you doing, and how can we augment that? Because they don't want, like, these pie-in-the-sky type of proposals that don't have any track record. So I think all of us contributed to, because we're asking for the Amador Crossing money. And we all spoke to the existing facilities there, and I think he was genuinely impressed with the fact that that we have, Jardín de los Niños, we have the clinic there. I forgot to mention the soup kitchen, but at any rate, he didn't know what part of the city it was in, so he asked a lot of questions. So I'm hoping that we do get our money, the money that we've asked for from the governor's office. And it wasn't that cold in Santa Fe. It had snowed like a week or so ago. And so we were spared, and in fact, it really became warm in our warm jackets. But I have to say that it was really a pleasure being up there with our troop, and with our troop, and the members there. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Flores. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Also, ditto on universal health care. So what does that mean? There's consensus. Does that mean?
Oh, yeah.
Done. I actually also wanted to speak to that, because I think these stories are incredibly heartbreaking and a lot more common than we realize. I'm currently reading a book called Poverty by America by Matthew Desmond that I highly, highly recommend. A lot of it is not anything new. It's things that we already knew about this country and our welfare system and how deeply broken it is. But it is a really stark revelation on how in this country it is incredibly difficult to escape poverty, yet we have made it incredibly easy to remain very, very wealthy. Mm-hmm. And And I really resent some folks' attempt to pit poor folks against each other in this room around not having health care, providing GBI. Like, there is this attempt to pit poor folks against each other when the reality is the systems that keep people in poverty are the same systems that keep people uninsured or having to go bankrupt because they're not insured. And the for-profit healthcare system, frankly, doesn't care about anybody, actually, whether you're wealthy or not. And I especially resent that, pitting poor folks against each other, because just this morning the Senate passed a giant bill that included $60 billion to military aid to Ukraine, $14 billion to Israel, and $20 billion for border security. So the fact that, so we have money to take care of people. It just depends on where you want to use it. And I always say that budgets are moral documents, and so maybe we can keep this in mind as we go into our very own budget retreat next week, that budgets are moral documents and they should represent what you care about in your community. Anyway, I will step off my soapbox now. I just wanted to say that because that's why. I also really wanted to thank Mayor Enriquez, Melissa, who's our court manager at Municipal Court. I don't remember her last name, apologies. Caldwell. And our new municipal judge, Anthony Filosa, who I'm just really, really impressed by them, both of them. Obviously, Melissa's been there for a really long time, and the judge is fairly new as our official judge, but has been there a short time. They have incredible ideas for how to streamline the court system, for how to make it more effective, for everyone involved, right? People who are facing the justice system, our officers, attorneys, everybody involved. And so I'm really excited for the things that we discussed on Friday and to bring those ideas forward to the council. I hope we get an opportunity to talk about them at the at the budget retreat, because I think they're definitely a priority that can, it's a piece of the puzzle for solving some of the issues that people have brought here today. Gun violence is very scary in our neighborhoods, and so not that would even go to municipal court, but I do think it's an important place to intervene early with many folks. So I'm very excited about that. I did want to thank Chief Story and his staff for the town hall event they had a couple of weeks ago. I was not present personally, but I watched online and just really wanted to convey my gratitude for that kind of event and looking forward for more now that we've amended this OIR contract. I went to the LCU banquet with Councillor McClure and the rest of the LCU commission last Wednesday, and we celebrated people who have been in the department for 5 years, for 10 years, 15 years, 20, 25 years, and it was really beautiful to see even some of the folks there that had recently retired from the department. And so I think that's just really beautiful. A really beautiful show and morale boost to see how long our staff are willing to stay at the not willing, but are happy to stay and do really good, important work for the city. I also wanted to just give a quick shout out to our legislators for their incredible hard work in this 30-day session, but I especially, and I have told them many times, I just really want to commend Larry, our lobbyist, because without him, I would literally be walking around lost in a circle. And so last Friday I was there, and he took Natalie Green and I around, and Nicole Martinez, and we talked to so many legislators, and it really only because of him and the relationships that he has. So I think he is a good choice for us. He's very hardworking. And then my last request was just that we soon put the PRC discussion on a work session so that we can begin talking about how we move forward with PRCs and all of that. So I would just request that we put that in a work session pretty soon. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Again, I just want to state, like, we do value the public input. A lot of these things, the issues that are brought up, we do value. I think we need to really look at how we structure public participation, and we'll continue to work on that. But the feedback that we get is no different than, I'll echo as Councilor Flores and Mayor Pro Tem said, we were all in Santa Fe last week for the Las Cruces Days, and a lot of the issues that we're advocating for are a lot of these issues, whether it's a real-time crime lab, whether it's a mobile integrated and the mental crisis treatment, all of these issues that they bring forward, affordable housing, the East Mesa Sports Complex, we're advocating for these for our legislators to get that external funding so we can help finish these projects for all these issues that are brought up. And so I want to thank staff and the city manager, those that went out there also, and the chiefs that were out there advocating and lobbying for our community to get the things that we need, that we hear from the public, that we want to address. So thank you. And a shout out to Mandy Gus and her communications department. As we delivered those, they did a video of all the requests, and it was well done. Mayor Pro Tem, yes, you did a great job, English and Spanish. And it was really good that when the schools and NMSU, the Las Cruces Public Schools superintendent went up there, he said, we need to step up our game. So Mandy, thank you for making us look good and setting the bar. I also want to say kudos to officer from Las Cruces Police Department, De La Garza, for coordinating the run yesterday. They had a run, they had a large participation for the fallen officer, NMSU, New Mexico State Police, Jarrett. So that was well done. I hope that I can attend next year. They make it an annual function. It was in his honor, and De La Garza was there, even got wounded during that scene, and said how it changed his life. And I appreciate him stepping up and showing the commitment to this community that we really do care for our police officers, and they're out there really fighting the crime. So thank you for that. If you could pass that on to him, Chief, I'd appreciate it. Now, with that, I'll turn it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. If I may, just address a couple of things that I've been doing this a lot lately with my reports, just some things that I can address quickly from earlier comments, either by council or the public. I want to talk about the active transportation planner because I also want to advertise that as well as we're publicly, that we're constantly looking for this position to be filled. I know we had an individual earlier on when I first got here, and then it's been a hard position to fill, but 2 individuals were offered and rejected the offer, and so we're going back. I want to let you know about that. I know it's suggested that we actually go and use a firm to go out and actually recruit and use some of the other positions that we had. I think it was Councilor McClure that gave me that idea. And so I think if we do that, we may have a little bit more success. But I do want the public to know that we are looking, to let you know we're looking, but also to let you know if there's interest out there. It seems that we have a lot of advocates, and maybe we can hire some of them or one of them. So I wanted to mention that we're still in process. And then I know there's been conversation about the aquatic center, and I know last time I mentioned that we were hoping that we get the part in by the 22nd of January. Latest update, that has not come in yet, and we're still waiting and working with the manufacturer. So that's been the delay. That's been the delay this whole time, is the part. It may be parts to fix this, fix our equipment, but that's the excuse. I mean, that's really where we're at. We're sitting at. There's really nothing else we can do but wait for the part to come in. And then I know Ms. Diaz has come several times with concerns regarding Memorial. We've talked to Memorial, talked to John, Mr. Harris, to come to City Council and have a work session to report and be able to address these issues himself. And so he's agreed to do that. Just when they are ready, we have a board meeting coming up soon, and we'll get a date to where he could come to the council. It is an advisory board that we sit on, which really doesn't mean a whole lot, but we can certainly have these conversations and have him come and address some of the issues. And then this was hot off the press. I was reminded when Councilor Graham talked about our hometown hero, Mr. Trout. There's nothing, this wasn't even sent as an update. It was just an FYI that they're looking to Las Cruces to be his first title, first match to defend his title. They're looking to bring it to Las Cruces. So that's not anything solid yet, but they're looking somewhere in August. And so he'll be defending his title in Las Cruces. It'll be, I think, can throw a big parade for him if that happens here. So just stuff that came up briefly. And then just some announcements from VOC and Parks and Rec. Visit Las Cruces has launched its annual Scenic Southern social media photo contest. The campaign runs from February 1st to 29th and encourages visitors and locals to take photos of their outdoor experience, then post with hashtag Scenic Southern NM 2024 for a chance to win prizes. More information can be found on visitlascruces.com. Also save the date for Mira Las Cruces Fest 2024. This is our second year to be held April 27th at the Plaza de las Cruces and downtown areas. This year's headline is Grupo Control, a nationally recognized norteño group with roots in the borderland. More details to come on visitlascruces.com. And then from our Parks and Rec, youth basketball registration opens online February 8th from 9 to 4 p.m. Youth cheer registration opens February 22nd, noon to 8 p.m. And then the annual father-daughter dance will take place on February 9th, a night for a princess at Frank O'Brien Community Center. And then shifting gears, just wanted to share some highlights. As you know, Larry Horan sends reports. Just wanted to share some highlights from this, I guess, since his last report, but appreciate the opportunity to go as well. And I think we'll see how productive our visits were, but appreciate everybody that went up as well. Just a couple things that he sent over to us. The session is past its halfway point, so January 31st was the last day of bill introductions, and so there was a total of 658 bills and 97 memorials and resolutions. The budget has passed the House and is now in the Senate, where to be changed. All the legislators have funded their capital outlay or pork projects. And now they will begin hearing bills in earnest. The House considered some gun bills and clean fuels on Saturday night. Apparently they didn't adjourn until 3:20 a.m. A couple of items we asked them to watch as well. Paid family medical leave passed its second committee yesterday in the Senate. It now heads to the Senate floor for a vote. And then Senate Bill 16, the criminal competency, and the House version were both heard in committee. The House version moved on with a no recommendation, and the Senate bill received a do pass out of committee. However, there was a lot of discussion. There seems to be technical drafting issues with the bills. It will be an uphill climb to pass this year, apparently. And additionally, Senate Bill 236, the fix to the MRA statute, passed its first committee and will likely have a second hearing on Thursday. He says it's unlikely to pass this year. No. But thank you, Mayor, Council.
Thank you, City Manager. Looking for motion to adjourn.
So moved by second by Flores.
This is on the motion to adjourn the regular meeting. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse is absent. Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Coran,
Yes.
Counselor Flores,
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.